Welcome to Anglesey for the final rounds of the Britcover National Formula Ford 1600 Championship with Avon Tyres. The championship battle is really going down to the wire in these two rounds as we speak with Luke and Niall. Guys, it's a really close battle this weekend at Anglesey. It's really between you two. What can we expect to see out there?
It's Formula Ford racing, it's fireworks as always, isn't it? At least we've got nice weather for the first race today. Yeah, it should be good running. I think Neil struggled a bit in qualifying there, but that's nothing for Neil to worry about. He quickly comes up and gets on the back of us, so it'll be good racing. It always is in Formula Ford. For me personally, I'm just going to go for it as a normal race, attack as I normally would, and hopefully win. That's my plan anyway, so hopefully that'll work.
And Neil, your first time driving this circuit in the dry was in qualifying. I guess there's still a lot to learn about where the grip is out there.
Yeah, this was the first time today in the dry to go around this track, so it was a bit of a struggle, as Luke says, but no, I'm looking forward to the race. It'll be really good. It's been great all year. It's been very, very close. So, as he says, just going to try to get to the front and win. So, yeah, we'll see.
We certainly will, and here's the grid for race 1 here at Anglesey with Luke Cooper and Luke Williams on the front row, ahead of Ross Martin and Joey Foster on row 2. Josh Smith and Michael Eastwell take up row 3 ahead of Keith Donegan and Jamie Thorburn, with Jason Cooper and Neil McLennan crucially rounding out the top 10. James Rowe Jr. and Matt Rangarido are on row 6 ahead of Jake Byrne and Jack Wolfenden, Abdul Ahmed and Rory Smith ahead of Michael McPherson and Ryan Campbell. Andrew Blair and Kevin Donnelly complete the top 20 from Vincent J and James E. Hagan, Jack Clayton and John Miller on row 12. And then the last 3 cars on the grid, Mark de Rosario, Paul Barnes and the ever-present Ivor Mayers on row 14 to make up the 27-car entry. It's been a fascinating and superb year in the National Championship for Formula Fords, and now it's Williams versus McLennan for the title and the Road to Indy shootout spot. We've got onboard cameras with Michael McPherson, the returning Joey Foster, champion-elect in Scotland. Ross Martin looks to try and end his national campaign on a high, as will this man, Luke Cooper, taking pole. He wants the Grand Slam of win and fastest lap. And also, watch out for this man, Josh Smith, in his Oldfield Motorsport Van Diemen JL13. So, 27 cars, 15 minutes, race 1 at Anglesey is about to get underway. Lights up, lights out, and the National Formula Fords are underway. Great start from Ross Martin and from Joey Foster. They've both swamped Luke Williams into turn 1. A great start from the pair of them, and now Foster looks to the outside to try and take second from Martin, but it hasn't worked. Cooper heads the whole shot into the hairpin from Martin, then Foster, and side by side for fourth between Williams and Josh Smith. Smith gets edged out onto the curb and has to sit back for P5. So out of the hairpin, into the flat out right-hander at Church. A little bit of an oversteer moment for Williams as they head out of the right-hander, now through the quick right-handed kink of School, and then the complex of rocket in and rocket out at the top of the hill. See McLennan there in the red car, number 25, battling with Donegan. As up the outside goes Joey Foster. This is for P2 into rocket in. He's got the inside line for the right-hander, and the Lanham Racing Ginetta GT4 racer from British GT showing he's lost none of his class at the wheel of a Formula Ford. He's back up to second place. This is Michael McPherson in one of the Graham Brunson prepared Rays. He's fighting James Rowe Jr. in front in the Van Diemen car, the ex-Niall Murray machine from last year. Here's Ross Martin, champion-elect in Scotland, battling away with his fellow Scot, Jamie Thorburn, over 4th position. Top 3 altogether, Cooper from Foster from Williams, but the fight we're focusing on here is the scrap for 4th between Jamie Thorburn, Ross Martin, this man Josh Smith, getting himself comfortable in his new Van Diemen JL13, now he's with James Oldfield. And we've also got Michael Eastwell, and crucially back in 8th at the back of that train, that is Neil McLennan. There he is, the red car, number 25. Now, we should explain the championship connotations here this weekend. The gap between Williams and McLennan in the points is 57 points. There's 108 maximum up for grabs this weekend. You get 32 points for a win, plus 2 points each for fastest lap and pole position. Now, so far, at the moment, if it stays as it is, Luke Cooper will get the maximum score from race 1. So McLennan has to make up as many places as he can to try and close that deficit as much as possible and try and prevent Williams from winning the title as soon as possible. I don't think he'll win it in race 1, but if it stays as it is, particularly if he's making passes like that on Michael Eastwell for 7th place, he could delay it possibly until race 2 tomorrow. So the leader's then heading up to the bus stop at the end of what appears to be the penultimate lap, as McLennan now has made the move on the spectrum, but still back in 7th place and losing valuable ground and points to the cars in front, including Luke Williams. Now we're on the last lap of the race, and this man Luke Cooper has broken away suitably from both Foster and from Williams. And the Castle Coombe regular, who now heads up towards Church as we ride on board with the number 6, has had a bit of an up and down year. He's taken race victories at places like Brands Hatch and Silverstone. Had a great battle last time out with Luke Williams in the 3 races across the weekend. And he's kicking off his final weekend of the season here at Anglesey in the best possible way. Starting from pole position, he holds the fastest lap of the race, and now he's only about half a lap away from securing victory in race 1. Now, his chances for the championship are virtually 0, but doesn't mean he can't try and take points away from those contesting it, and also try and keep himself in the hunt for permanently securing 3rd place in the point standings. A victory here will certainly help him out no end. So that's the corkscrew over the crest, down the Tom Price straight for the last time. And Cooper looks as though he's going to be virtually unchallenged on his way to the flag. Into the hairpin for the final time. He's almost home. Just one more corner to go at the end of the straight, the bus stop, and then he'll be up towards the checkered flag. Now in the background, you can see Joey Foster is coming under attack one last time from Luke Williams, but no one can touch this man at the head of the field. Out of the final corner for the final time. A great way to start the weekend for Luke Cooper as he wins race 1 at Anglesey here in fine style. Foster holds on to 2nd place for a superb podium ahead of Luke Williams, and it's Thorburn and Martin rounding out the top 5. Josh Smith scores 6th place ahead of Neil McLennan, who can only manage 7th, ahead of Michael Eastwell, Keith Donegan and James Rowe Jr., with the fastest lap going to that man Cooper. Then Wolfman in 11th ahead of Round Garrido 12th. Then McPherson, Byrne, Ahmed, Smith, Hagan, Clayton, Jay and Miller complete the top 20, with the last 2 cars finishing Mark de Rosario and Ivor Mayers, whilst Cooper, Barnes, Donnelly, Blair and Campbell all failed to finish.
It was extremely hard work, and Jerry was pushing me the whole way. And once we got a bit of a break, I was able to pull away from him when he was battling with Luke, and I was able to make the break and just kept trying to pump in the fast laps and pull as big a gap as I could.
Well, initially I got a bad start. I dropped to 4th, and then I realised if I could get past Ross at the front, the 3 of us had the pace, so I just stayed at the back. I had a couple of chances to overtake Joe, but I wasn't willing to risk it, and then we were managing a few little issues. We had a brake issue and an overheating issue, so from there it was just a case of bringing it home.
Well, the weather has taken a turn for the worse here at Anglesey as Cooper and Foster line up on the front row for race 2, with Williams and Thorburn on row 2 ahead of Ross Martin and Josh Smith, then Neil McLennan and Michael Eastwell on row 4. Top 10 completed by Keith Donegan and James Rowe Jr. ahead of Jack Wolfenden, Matt Round Garrido, Michael McPherson and Jake Byrne, and Abdul Ahmed and Rory Smith on row 8. James E. Hagan and Jack Clayton make up row 9 ahead of Vincent J. and John Miller, then Mark de Rosario and Ivor Mayers, Jason Cooper and Paul Barnes, with the final 3 cars on the grid made up by Kevin Donnelly, Andrew Blair and Ryan Campbell. Well, heavy rain and strong winds here at Anglesey. It's a second race that will really test the drivers out there. The 15 minutes of National Formula Ford action is about to get underway. Red lights up. Foster and Cooper on the front row. Who's going to get the whole shot down towards turn 1? Get away pretty cleanly. On board with Cooper up towards turn 1. Turns in. And that's Foster going round the outside. So in the really adverse conditions, it's Foster that leads. And look at the spray. Absolutely appalling as down towards the hairpin. Smith now challenges for 2nd place on the inside of Cooper. Cooper braving it around the outside as they turn their way through the hairpin. Also we see Vincent J in the 56 battling away with Michael McPherson. We're with him now, and this is the actual driver's view. You're driving into a wall of spray. You cannot see a thing. You're turning for an apex and hoping it's there between the water. So, as the Rooster Tails drift in the wind, it's now side by side for the leaders. Foster under attack from Josh Smith on the outside. We're on board with Foster. Down through the gears, under brakes, into rocket in. Smith is to our outside. They turn in. Bit of a sharp apex there for Smith as Cooper, race 1 winner, holds 3rd ahead of Luke Williams. Now, Williams can win the title in this second race, but he needs to hope that he gets as many points as he can ahead of Neil McLennan. There he is in the red car, number 25. Meanwhile, there is Matt Round Garrido in the red and white number 27, battling away with Michael Eastwell and Keith Donegan as the top 2 trying to break away already. Foster and Smith, nose to tail. Through the corkscrew, onto the Tom Price straight for the first time. Here is Smith's view, moving out of the spray as they come down towards the hairpin. And it will be a wider line from everyone here. That's the karting line, but of course with the racing line being full of rubber, if you add water to it, it gets very slippery. Everyone going up the inside, as is Keith Donegan. Makes up a place on McLennan, and that's pretty crucial for the championship hunt, because of course the more places that McLaren loses in these early stages, it becomes more of an advantage for Williams. It's up towards the end of the first lap, the car's getting through, and that is Matt Rangarido off onto the grass. Front left suspension damage. Eastwell goes off in sympathy over the grass. Yellow flags flying. He looks to try and rejoin the track as the rest of the field goes through. And that's James Rowe Jr. that's gone for a spin as well. So the number 2 in trouble. So in these very adverse conditions, they're already catching drivers out at this early stage. So Williams currently holding firm in 4th position ahead of Ross Martin. This is Josh Smith who's throwing the steering wheel in. But that's the technique, almost karting-like in these wet conditions. Out of Church, through the flat-out right-handed kink of School, and up towards Rocket. And this is really where you start to learn how to race a Formula Ford. Of course, in these conditions, no downforce, just mechanical grip in very wet conditions. This is where you see some of the best drivers out there. There's Luke Williams, a little deep on the exit of Rocket in. Now puts him under threat from Ross Martin. So out of the right-hander they come, up towards Peel, the next right-hander, as now Martin comes under threat from Thorburn, his fellow Scotsman. Thorburn looks around the outside, and as the battles continue here at Anglesey in atrocious conditions, more where that came from race 2, after the break. Welcome back to a very damp and saturated Anglesey circuit in North Wales for the final meeting of the season of the 2017 Britcover National Formula Ford 1600 Championship with Avon Tyres. The title hangs in the balance here in race 2 between Neil McLennan and points leader Luke Williams. Whoever can take away the title will get that coveted spot on the Mazda Road to Indy shootout. But who's it going to be? We've still got to find out. And this is Rory Smith holding off Jake Byrne in the 76 as they turn their way through the hairpin. This weather is not getting better anytime soon as they head out towards Church. Forward Byrne. His focus will be firmly fixated on the rain light in front of him that belongs to Rory Smith as they go through Church. Now, a few corners up the road, this is Martin battling with Donegan. Around the outside comes Neil McLennan on the better line. Big oversteer twitch from Ross Martin as they go side by side, and that's contact! McLennan goes spinning, Martin off into the bank. And that could have major implications on the championship, because if that has compromised McLennan enough, it could potentially have just handed Luke Williams the National Formula Ford title and the ticket to the Road to Indy on a silver platter. That potentially could have sealed McLennan's fate. Well, there's Ross Martin gesticulating to the marshal after the contact, but potentially Luke Williams could just have been handed a lifeline in this championship battle. Unbelievable drama here at Anglesey in this second race, as we see Jack Wolfenden chasing after position, as is Josh Smith in the Van Diemen, as he continues his pursuit of race leader Joey Foster. So Luke Cooper there in 3rd place giving chase also. This is Jake Byrne, late apex off the hairpin, still chasing after Rory Smith. Continues in the slipstream through the spray, moves out to get a better view of the bus stop left-hander. This is back with Cooper further up at the banking, and going off at the banking. Understeers wide, quickly finds the track again, and I don't think he's coming under attack from Keith Donegan in 4th, so it looks to me as if Cooper may have gotten away with that one. Just. So the leader's now already up through School Curve for the final time. You have to say, that man there, Joey Foster, welcome back to Formula Ford. He's a former festival winner, both overall and also in the Kent portion, in the days of the Zetec and Duratec classes. And as we mentioned in part 1, he's been plying his craft this season at the wheel of a Ginetta GT4 in the British GT Championship. Was in contention for the title this year and the year before that, so Joey knows how to handle a race car all right. And of course, when it comes to Formula Ford, he is giving everyone a masterclass in these wet weather conditions. No less Josh Smith, who you have to say, credit where credit's due, in a new car for Josh. He's always used to the Furman chassis, jumps into James Oldfield's Van Diemen JL13 and immediately is on the pace. That just shows the quality of driver that Josh is, keeping up with someone like Joey. Out of the hairpin now for the final time. Josh will try and close as much as he can and will hope for a mistake at the final corner, but I think someone like Joey won't do that at all. Up into the braking zone for the bus stop for the final time. And Joey Foster showing everyone just how good he is as he heads out to the final corner, up to the checkered flag, And Joey Foster takes a win in the second race at Anglesey on his comeback from Josh Smith in a superb second place. Then Cooper third from Donegan, who also got the fastest lap. Then Byrne, Thorburn, Rory Smith, Jason Cooper, McLennan crucially ninth, and then James Rowe Jr. 10th. But the big story is there. P14, Luke Williams is confirmed after finishing in the top 15 as the 2017 Britcover National Formula Ford 1600 champion. He wins the title and the ticket to the road to Indy. A superb achievement, but it's not over yet. There's still one race left to go. The final race of the season for the championship sees Jason Cooper and Rory Smith on the reverse grid front row from Jamie Thorburn and Jake Byrne, then Keith Donegan and Luke Cooper, Josh Smith and race 2 winner Joey Foster. It's Neil McLennan and James Rowe Jr. who complete the top 10 from Abdul Ahmed and Ryan Campbell, with Michael Eastwell and Luke Williams the new champion in 14th from Andrew Blair and Jack Wolfenden. Then James E. Hagan and Michael McPherson from Jack Clayton and Kevin Donnelly, Vincent J. and Paul Barnes, with Mark de Rosario and Ivor Mayers on row 12. And watch out for the 2 cars at the back of the grid, Ross Martin and Matt Rangarido, looking to end the season on a high, despite starting on row 13 and last. So the last 15 minutes of the season, who's going to get the bragging rights and possibly the form into 2018? Lights up for the final time. Let's go racing and finish the season in style. Great start from McLennan and also from Joey Foster from rows 4 and 5 on the grid, and they turn into the first corner for the first time all together. Lots of jostling for position as they turn up towards the banking for the first time. Into the complex, and it's Byrne that leads from row 2. Super start from the Irishman. Into the hairpin, his compatriot Keith Donegan goes up the inside of Rory Smith for row 2. Goes into second place, and now we're on board with Jamie Thorburn, who now fancies his shot at third, and demoting Rory Smith another place. Through Church Corner, just working away at the wheel now as they come up the straight, nose to tail. They're all over each other through School Curve up towards Rocket. This is going to be very tricky indeed. Look at this, we've got Smith, Foster and Jason Cooper all together, being watched by Neil McLennan. Here he is up towards the complex at Rocket. Now Rory Smith goes wide. This allows Luke Cooper a chance to go up the outside for the second part of Rocket, but there's no room at the end, and Rory Smith will hold on to 4th place. Then Cooper, and then we've got Josh Smith and Jason Cooper in the second of the Swift SC16 chassis is up there and fighting away with Joey Foster, Smith and also Neil McLennan. So they tumble down the hill together as we now go on board with Jamie Thorburn. Now he's battling to his right. Keith Donegan trying to grab second place away from the Irishman. Meanwhile his compatriot Jake Byrne holding on in front in the lead as Thorburn now goes side by side. The better traction off the hairpin helped out through the banking. Now on board with Josh Smith through the right-hander at Church, and the 2 cars have made contact, and Donegan goes around. Donegan goes skating across the grass, and behind him it's 4 abreast because Cooper, Smith, McLennan and Vincent J are all in the mix as well. There's also there Joey Foster and also Jason Cooper and Rory Smith. They all tumble down towards the Rocket Complex together. Hold your breath, boys. They're all getting very squirrely as Smith tries to go down the outside, and then Cooper taking the wider line in the mix. Smith then goes down the inside. Cooper's got the better traction, holds on to the place from the 0. Then McLennan down the outside ahead of Smith. Smith goes up the inside of the Scotsman, tries to make it stick, and now there goes Joey Foster up the inside trying to make the cut back. Great racing. You can tell it's the last race of the season because they are all over each other down towards the complex. So into the left-hander, and that's Cooper off the road. Luke Cooper's off the road, hits the cone, loses several places. So his final race of the year is already being compromised. Down towards the hairpin, McLennan battling with Rory Smith as they turn in through the right-hander. Battling with Josh Smith in there too. McLennan's going to try and make up as many places as he can. He would dearly love to end the season on a podium if it's possible. So down towards the bus stop once again. I think there's a car off in the background, and it might be Luke Cooper, potentially. The rest of the field go through, and it is Luke Cooper. Cooper off the road, and I'm afraid that's his 2017 season done and dusted in the worst possible way. So back aboard with McLennan, still chasing hard after the leaders. If he can try and make his way through, he'll try any opportunity possible. And now this is on board with Josh Smith as he's now challenging down the outside, possibly for the lead. We've got Jake Byrne to our right as they come into the hairpin. A little squirrel of the under brakes, but I think he may just about get it stopped. He's wide line on the exit, and he has got it done, yes. Josh Smith in the final race of the season puts a move on Jake Byrne to take the lead. Now then, possibly, could Joey Foster get involved here and snatch second place? It's a possibility as they head into the bus stop now for what looks to be the penultimate time. Tippy-toeing their way through the left-hander. onto the pit straight, their nose to tail together, and here comes Joey Foster looking for second place up the inside. We go back on board with Smith. Wide line again through turn 1 up towards the banking now again, and there goes Foster. Foster in the 155 up to second place ahead of Jake Byrne. That's a crucial move, and at a very crucial time too, as they head out of the banking up towards Church, and potentially could Neil McLennan get in the mix here as well. Josh Smith then in the final stages of the season. Now he would dearly love to end the season, which has been so turbulent and tumultuous with so many reliability issues and poor results. How he would love to end it with a win and possibly give himself a lot of confidence into next year, particularly if he continues with Oldfield Motorsport. Out of Rocket, car looking nice and firm and steady, but Joey Foster's lurking in the background. He's not going to let this win go without a fight, knowing Joey. Wide line again through Peel, up towards the curving left-hander, tumbling into the corkscrew. And normally they would go left and then right down the hill for the coastal circuit, but we're on the international course, so they now go down the Tom Price straight for the last time this season. And I think potentially Smith is home and dry. Looks to me as if both Foster and Byrne will try and chase him down to the end. McLennan also fancies third place right at the end of the season. He would dearly love a podium here and grab an extra trophy to take home to put in the mantelpiece if he can. Thorburns back there at P5, but after such a season of up and downs, finally some luck for Josh Smith. He rounds the final corner out of the bus stop and takes the checkered flag in the final race of the season. An incredible performance in the Van Diemen. It will be Smith who takes the flag and the victory from Joey Foster and Jake Byrne, then Neil McLennan, Jamie Thorburn, Jason Cooper, Michael Eastwell, new champion Williams, and then Ahmed and Ross Martin rounding out the top 10. Well, what a superb year it's been, and the privilege to commentate on this superb championship. I have to say thank you to all the teams and drivers involved. And let's now hear from your new 2017 Britcover National Formula Ford champion, Luke Williams, who's talking to Lloyd down in the paddock.
Luke, congratulations on winning the championship. It's been a tough battle, but you've now got the ticket for the Road to Indy.
Yeah, it's been a solid season. We've managed to do really well all year. Keep good performances going, and finally got the title wrapped up, and we'll go to America in December.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to seeing the results of your of the drive out there, and congratulations once again. It's been a tough season, and certainly a tough weekend here at Anglesey.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And that's it from Anglesey for the National Formula Ford 1600 Championship with Avon Tyres and Britcover. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next season.